The inevitable question, is Donald Trump a good thing or a bad thing right now in the Republican race? And do you agree with the decision to disinvite him from the risk they have, which, as you mentioned, you attended every year?
Well, I think that's a decision for red state to make. I think every candidate should treat everyone else with civility and respect. That is the standard I try to follow. It's a standard I hope all of us aspire to. I also think that we're not going to solve the problems in this country. We're not going to defeat the Washington cartel by obsessing over the politics of personalities. This is about real challenges facing the American people. This is about bankrupting our kids and grandkids, defending the Bill of Rights, and restoring America's leadership in the world. That's where my focus has been, and it's where I intend to keep it.
But Senator, this is an actual pattern that Mr. Trump seems to have to women. So can you actually address the actual comments themselves?
I think Megyn Kelly is a terrific journalist. I've been pleased to be on her show many, many times. In fact, I believe I was the very first guest, the very first day she launched her show. And I think she does a great job. I think she did a very good job moderating the debate. And I'm not going to engage in the back and forth on personalities. I get the media loves, that's what you want to cover, is the soap opera of the back and forth. But let me give you a story that is infinitely more important than the momentary bickering between different political candidates, which is what has happened with General Soleimani. General Soleimani is the leader of the Al-Quds forces in Iran. Now, it's recently been reported that General Soleimani traveled to Russia in violation of the international sanctions. Now, General Soleimani is directly responsible for the murder of over 500 American servicemen and women by providing explosive devices that were used to murder our soldiers in Iraq. General Soleimani was also directly responsible for planning a terrorist attack on U.S. soil. That's why he's subject to international sanctions. Part of this catastrophic Obama-Iranian nuclear deal is lifting the sanctions on General Soleimani, lifting the UN sanctions. Now, John Kerry says we keep the American sanctions, but they negotiated the UN sanctions being lifted. And we've now discovered, even before the sanctions are lifted, General Soleimani flew to Moscow. The day he returned, Russia was implicated in a major cyber attack on the Pentagon and the Joint Chiefs of Staff. The day he returned. Now, to go from the ridiculous to the absurd, we've now learned that the Obama administration didn't want to comment on this for fear of embarrassing the Russians. Talk about misplaced priorities. Thankfully, the Iranians had no such constraints, so the Iranians were perfectly happy to comment on it and say, yes, General Soleimani traveled to Russia, and why is he there? To negotiate the sale of arms systems from Russia to Iran. If you want an illustration of why this Iranian nuclear deal is catastrophic, is dangerous, endangers the safety and security of our allies, endangers the safety and security of Israel, and endangers the safety and security of millions of Americans. There are few things that can better illustrate it than a terrorist responsible for the murder of over 500 American servicemen meeting with Russia and purchasing sophisticated arms systems in open defiance of the international sanctions. That is what we should be talking about. And I'm going to tell you, over the next 60 days, my focus is going to be energizing and mobilizing millions of Americans all across this country to stand up and demand that our elected representatives stop this catastrophic deal. And I'm going to do something that may surprise you. I'm going to praise and compliment Chuck Schumer. Now, I know that I am known as such a vocal advocate of elected Democrats. But Chuck Schumer this week came out against this Iranian nuclear deal. That was an act of courage and bravery, and I salute Chuck Schumer for doing it. I've been saying for a number of weeks that I hope we see the reemergence of Joe Lieberman Democrats, the reemergence of Scoop Jackson Democrats, the reemergence of John F. Kennedy Democrats. There used to be a long tradition of Democrats who were willing to stand up and defend our national security. Sadly, that has become almost an endangered species in Congress. I hope that Chuck Schumer carries through and doesn't just oppose this deal, but that he helps lead the fight to rally his fellow Democrats to stand together. Every congressional Democrat faces a simple choice right now. Do they value the national security of the United States of America? Do they value the security of Israel? Do they value the safety and lives of millions of Americans more than they value partisan loyalty to the Obama White House? It is my hope the answer from congressional Democrats is an overwhelming yes, that they stand with Chuck Schumer, they stand with me, and say we will always, always, always defend the national security and the lives of Americans.
Senator, you're clearly popular here, and many of the voters who, like Donald Trump, also support you. Do these voters have any responsibility or any voice in changing how Donald Trump conducts himself?
But let me be very clear. It is my hope that the voters who are currently supporting Donald Trump and every other one of the Republican candidates in time will come to support us. What I'm working to do is unite conservatives, bring together that old Reagan coalition, bring together conservatives, evangelicals, libertarians, young people, Hispanics, women, Reagan Democrats. So I'm working very hard to try to attract support. All of the candidates in this race are people who I like and admire and respect, and we're having a vigorous debate on both substance and on politics. But at the end of the day, it is my hope that we unite conservatives. Red State, more than anything else, my message to Red State was if conservatives unite, we can turn this country around. Red State has been ground zero for the conservative movement, and if conservatives stand together, the primaries are effectively over. And if conservatives stand together, if we bring back to the polls the millions of conservatives who stayed home in 08 and 12, we'll win the general election and we can transform this country. We can get back to the common sense principles that built America.
Senator, was it right to disinvite Donald Trump from this conference?
As I said, that was a decision for Red States making.
Do you want to know the race? Oh, thank you, Senator. I respect you talking about Iran, so thank you very much for that. But I do want to talk about the war on women thing, because that was a huge issue in the 2012 election. And as Megyn Kelly noted the other night, Democrats are already lobbying that again. So I wanted you to comment on whether or not you think that this whole spat with Donald Trump and Megyn Kelly and whatnot will add to the fuel to that fire.
I've got to say, you're exactly right that women across this country are deeply dismayed with the direction this country goes. I'm the father of 2 little girls. I care very much about the future of both girls and women in America. And I got to tell you, in 6.5 years, we've seen 3.7 million women enter poverty. In 6.5 years, the median wages for women has dropped $733. If you're a single mom waiting tables, and I come from a family with a lot of single moms. My sister was a single mom. Both of my aunts were single moms. My cousin was a single mom. I've seen the struggles. If you're a single mom waiting tables, if you're trying to feed your kids, and you've seen the cost of food go up, you've seen the cost of electricity go up because of the crushing regulations from this administration. You've seen the cost of health insurance premiums skyrocket under Obamacare. And you've seen your wages stagnate. Your wages, if they've dropped the median amount, have dropped $733. You want to talk about a war on women? That is a war on women. And I look forward to getting back to the sort of environment where small businesses are prospering and women have every opportunity to achieve their hopes and dreams. When I talk to my daughters, Caroline and Catherine, I talk to them about how anything they want to do, they can do if they set their mind to it, if they demonstrate perseverance, and if they act with integrity. That is the American dream. It's who we are, and we've got to get back to it. And I believe we can, and I believe we will.
Senator
Thank you very much.
Senator, do you want Donald Trump out of the race?
Captain.